Hello again, good evening to you. Welcome to Business. CEO of the Ghana Investments Promotion Center, GIPC, Gov't, has confirmed the entrance of international oil giant Exxon Mobil into the country's oil and gas industry. The company showed initial interest in Ghana's sector when it wanted to take up Cosmos Energy's shares, but failed. Gov't, in an interview with Joy Business, says Exxon Mobil and other international oil companies have now invested impressively in the exploration of Ghana's hydrocarbon development. Exxon Mobil is expected to sign a petroleum agreement with the government of Ghana and the GNPC next week to start exploitation of the petroleum resources in the offshore deep-water Cape 3 points. The GIP boss says the company's participation in Ghana will open up more job opportunities for Ghanaians in the industry.
Exxon Mobil is here. Last year we saw some overtures by Lukoil, which is probably the third largest in the world, and Litasco, who we've developed a good relationship with, and they are all doing interesting investments in Ghana. We look forward to some more. We look forward to some of the big players, the global players, because what they bring is they bring a lot of technology, they bring value chain businesses in which Ghanaians can participate. Now, the interesting thing, though, is there is a worry that very often when foreign direct investors come into the country, they come and they don't engage indigenous people. But our experience and our research is telling us that a lot of the foreign direct investors who come to Ghana actually would prefer to even employ Ghanaians than to employ expatriates, because it's more expensive for them when they employ expatriates. And when they have Ghanaians there, they are better able to negotiate the nuances of the business environment and the business sector here. So we are seeing a lot of them who come in and then they train and employ Ghanaians and replace whichever expatriates they come with, and that's very encouraging.
Now, government ended last year missing out slightly on the end-of-year inflation target for December 2017. Managers of the economy were looking at closing the year with 11.2%, but achieved 11.8%. But what accounted for this, and what were the drivers of this marginal increase in inflation from November till December? Acting government statistician Ban Wade threw more light on this at a press conference earlier.
In December 2017, the year-on-year inflation rate was 11.8%, as compared with a rate of 11.7% recorded in November 2017. The monthly change rate in December 2017 was 1.0%, compared with a rate of 0.9% for November 2017. Now, the year-on-year non-food inflation rate for December 2017 was 13.6%, which was the same as the rate recorded in November 2017. And the year-on-year food inflation rate for December 2017 was 8.0%, as compared with a rate of 7.9% recorded in November 2017. And the year-on-year non-food inflation rate is more than 1.5 times that of the food inflation rate. That is 13.6% as compared with 8.0%. And in December 2017, the year-on-year inflation rate for imported items was 2.5 percentage points higher than that for locally produced items. That is 13.6% as compared with 11.1%. The main price drivers for the non-food inflation rate were clothing and footwear with a rate of 18.8%, transport 18.7%, recreation and culture 17.5%, and furnishings, household equipment, and routine maintenance a rate of 15.2%. And the price drivers for the food inflation rate were vegetables a rate of 10.0%, and fish and seafood a rate of 8.8%. And the price drivers are the subgroups with the high price changes over the year.
Now, speaking earlier on the marketplace, economist of Data Bank, Karish Marty, said the marginal increase may not have any significant effect on the economy.
if you look at what happened during the 12 months of 2017, there was a general decline in inflation, and cumulatively we saw 6.3% decline in inflation from 15.4% at the start of 2017 now to 11.8%, 0.6% higher than what government thought it would achieve. But if you look at the trend, it was an improvement on the inflationary environment, partly because the budget ensured that certain cost pressures were contained, and that's good news for what the government was seeking to achieve, so we shouldn't be worried at all.
And what are the implications as it is for the economy?
Well, basically, the immediate implication you want to read is that, we're all looking forward to continuous easing of monetary policy, continuous easing of credit conditions so that businesses can have access to cheaper credit. It appears that we'll have to wait a little longer, because what it means is that the central bank will now have to be taking calculated steps in the monetary easing cycle.
And on businesses, I mean, how does it?
Well, basically, higher rates of inflation will mean that purchasing power is being deprived, and so once the rate of inflation remains at a certain high level, businesses may not feel confident enough that when they produce, there will be so much demand for them. And so I hope that this does not negate the positive confidence that we have, sentiments that we have currently. I mean, I'm not sure it's high enough to even negate all the gains that was made during 2017. So businesses should not also be worried at all.
And I hope certainly it's not like a turnaround in the consistent path to which inflation has declined in the past.
Yeah, we hope so. We hope so. But in 2018, there are certain policy measures that must be implemented to ensure that this increase is not sustained, that we reverse back to a downward path, because in the last 2 consecutive months, we've seen an increase in the rate. So, but we are expecting that the 2018 budget has some positive things that can trigger a sustained decline in inflation.
Now, the General Agric Workers Union, Gov't, says this insignificant contribution of agriculture to Ghana's GDP will influence Ghana's Statistical Service's move to change the way GDP estimates are measured from this year in the economy rebasing exercise. According to him, the rebasing has the potential of making the agric sector unattractive for investors. He's therefore urging government to stimulate reforms in the sector prior to the rebasing exercise. Here's more in this report.
Despite the key contribution of the agric sector to the economy, its development has slowed down partially by ineffective public-private coordination. Contribution to GDP over the years has actually shown a steady reduction. In this vein, General Secretary of Gov't, Edward Karewe, believes rebasing of the economy by the Ghana Statistical Service will have a dire effect on the sector.
Agriculture has been lagging behind. Now, given the poor performance of agriculture since 2010 to date, if you do a rebasing today, it's more likely that agriculture again will perform poorly, and that could further worsen the contribution of agriculture to GDP. Some will make the argument that, well, if its contribution to GDP is low, why do you emphasize on it? But we need to emphasize on it for strategic reasons. One, we need to be able to produce the food that we need for ourselves. We should be proud that we eat what we grow.
Edward Karewe believes there is a need for government to explore ways of making the entire value chain of the agric sector very attractive for investment. He believes this could show up the performance of the sector.
No investor would like to make an investment without knowing whether the program will stop or not. The sector has to be more predictable, and investors would like an area where there's a lot of predictability. One, marketing in agriculture must be predetermined. You know that at the end of the year, after harvesting, a bag of maize will be selling between this and that, so that you already know the price. Now, that will now inform you as to what your inputs should look like, your cost of production should look like. Those type of predictions must be clearly available for people to pick and use.
So far, government initiatives including the Planting for Food and Jobs, One District, One Factory and One Village, One Dam programs are aimed at impacting the sector positively.
And that's all in business tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Meanwhile, you can log onto our business website, www.myjoyonline.com/business, for more business news headlines. My name is Emmanuel Apuaji Biafi. There's more ahead. Don't go away.